gut and the brain are connected. They are intimately connected through the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the largest communication highway through our body, and it's sending signals back and forth to each other. And so we know that, if you're excited about something, you get butterflies in your stomach. If you're nervous about something, you have to go to the bathroom. And this is this communication going on between our gut and our brain.
Hello, Heal Squad. It's going to be a great day. Want to know why? Because we're going to learn about our gut and why we need probiotics to help our guts. Maybe not all of us, but probably most of us. Anyhow, we'll get to that. Our quote of the day, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. And that is from Jim Rohn. Heal Squad, so excited to be back with you today on this very special episode. I want to welcome any new listeners to the Heal Squad. This is what we do here every single day. We try to get better together because it's a whole lot easier doing it together. We're your accountability partners every single day. We're one of the few podcasts to drop episodes every single day as well. So we are here for you every day, and we are always striving for valuable life lessons and takeaways. So that is our goal here. We want you to leave here knowing that you spent your 30 minutes to 60 minutes, whatever it ends up being, because sometimes we run longer. We want you to know that you are getting something to take into your day, tools. And these tools help me every single day, have saved my life every freaking day in every way. So I am the first to say I'm grateful for the show because it helps me, but I know it can help you as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for all of our friends leaving us beautiful reviews. They keep us going. So if you haven't left us a review, we'll leave a link in the summary of this episode so you can just easily go over there and say, hey, we love Kevin. Maybe they'll say that, honey. I don't know.
Well, why wouldn't they?
And as you know, friends, Macy's is a big supporter of our show, and we are so grateful for them. I have some new picks up on my Macy's.com/Heal Squad or /Heal Squad, right? Yeah, / I always get that one wrong. Up there, I have new baby picks, by the way. A lot of the things I'm using for little Athena that you might love or you might want to gift to somebody who's having a baby. And then, of course, all kinds of fashion and homeware and kitchenware and stuff. So check that out when you have a chance. My Rosetta Stone is really going very well. My Greek is improving. So if you have heard the Rosetta Stone ads, I am a big, big fan of Rosetta Stone. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. You can improve a language like I'm trying to so that I can hopefully live abroad maybe half the year. That's my goal. And, I don't get stumped when I'm trying to come up with a word. But you can also learn a language in advance thinking about where you might want to visit more. So check that out. Okay, we're going to get to our guest today. I'm super excited to have here in studio with us, Tina Anderson. Today we have Tina here, whose path into the world of health took some unique turns, from a trial lawyer to the pharmaceutical industry herself. Frustrated by the many abuses in the pharmaceutical industry, Tina turned her focus toward natural health, where she discovered the importance of gut health and now shares her passion for wellness with a unique probiotic supplement. We're going to delve into the world of gut health and the vital role it plays in our well-being. And we're so excited to welcome Tina to the Heal Squad. Welcome.
Thanks, Maria.
You're a part of the Heal Squad officially.
I'm so excited, honored and excited.
Thank you. I guess, first of all, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Maria.
I want to share with everybody to start, because we're going to talk about gut health. We're going to talk about probiotics and why they're so helpful in your gut journey, especially if you're bloated, constipated, or, a few other things we'll add to the list. But where and when did this whole journey start for you? Because you created this Just Thrive brand.
Yes. Well, we had a very interesting journey. My career started out as an attorney. I was in litigation for many years and just started to have children, decided that I wanted more of a work-life balance. So I was fortunate to go into a family pharmaceutical business where I thought, this is great. I'm delivering life-saving medications to people. It's wonderful. I'm bringing health and wellness to people. But it didn't take too long to be in the pharmaceutical industry to see a lot of the abuses in the industry. the overprescribing of medications, the focus of being on treating symptoms rather than getting to the root cause of the problem. And my husband and I are huge, we're very deep thinkers. We're huge fans of like Wayne Dyer, Norman Vincent Peale. And Wayne Dyer's voice was in my head all the time. You need to do your life's work. And we just didn't feel like we were doing our life's work. And so my husband and I left our roles in the pharmaceutical world and jumped into this field of natural health and wellness. And through it, we learned about the gut and the incredible importance of gut health and how it really affects virtually every aspect of our overall health. And the problem with a lot of conventional probiotics that were on the market, and through a lot of our research, through being at the right place at the right time, a lot of prayer, meditation, we were able to license these exclusive strains from London University, and that's where Just Thrive was born. And it's been the most gratifying career journey I've ever been on.
How did you guys see that people were being overprescribed to? I like people getting to see behind, they say like peel the onion.
Yes.
I want people to really see, and we've shared things like doctors' journeys behind the scenes and how sad they are when they realize that they're just pharmacists. They've said this on the show.
Yeah.
They're like, we went to medical school, thought we were going to heal people, and realized we're just pharmacists. So from your perspective on the other side, what does that look like?
Yeah. Well, there was one particular example that really opened our eyes. We had just won a huge bid at one of the largest hospital systems in the country. And the pharmaceutical rep came into our office. So we were not a manufacturer, we're a distributor. And the pharmaceutical rep came into our office and said, oh my God, this is great, Billy. We just won this huge bid. This is awesome. Now, you know what my job is? My job now is to go to every doctor and lower the number of the number that the benchmark that they would set for cholesterol meds. So they basically wanted to like convince the doctors to lower the number that they would prescribe medications to. And that was kind of like the last straw. And, I know it was crazy. And so,
Honey, did you hear this?
Yes. Something I haven't heard before.
So the sales rep is going to go to the doctors and convince them with knowledge, basically, right? That they need to lower the threshold of what normal is for cholesterol. So now you are, Kevin, you need cholesterol meds because your cholesterol isn't normal. It's a 140 when it should be a 120.
Okay, sell.
I'm coming up with numbers, by the way.
No, but I'm saying, Maria, like that. Think about sales.
No, I know, but we don't know that. We go to the doctors and we think only good things. We forget it's a business. And that's why I'm here every day, is I really want to understand that. And the more we understand, then the more we can kind of look at things through clearer glasses.
Listen, doctors are human beings too. And think about an excellent salesperson, right? Someone who's an outstanding salesperson. And anyone who's successful at pharmaceutical sales, a lot of them are outstanding salespeople. And if someone's outstanding, I could be sold on anything. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't a doctor be any different?
So, okay, so he's going to go back to these doctors and sell them and change the benchmark.
Right. Or at least attempt to change the benchmark. And, and I always say, like, there is a time and a place for pharmaceuticals. I'm never out here like bashing, there's times, emergency medicine situations, acute situations, but the overprescribing of chronic conditions is just, it keeps me up at night. The fact that people just take this. And like you said, doctors are very well-intentioned people. I mean, they want to help people, but unfortunately medical schools are being funded by big pharma. Big pharma, like we said, the salesperson is educating doctors. These doctors don't have time to do the research that maybe you and I have done all of these years of natural alternatives, getting to the root cause. And so that's where the system is just broken, in my opinion. And why I just was so passionate. We were so passionate to get out of this cycle. And again, there is a place for pharmaceuticals. We know that they save lives, but it's just not a place I think you go to for chronic conditions. I think it's a place that you go to for acute type situations.
Yeah. Let's pause for a second. That's the gate. I bet you that's Peter. If you could just hit open.
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
You go deal with it. And that will be edited out. Let me just make sure this door closes. Okay. So these are the things that just scare me so much, because when you don't know, you can't do any better. So So this was kind of the big moment, the inciting moment for you guys, you think,
Yeah.
to say
Oh,
we're out of this?
that, and then we had a relative, my husband's aunt, started on one medication for stomach issues and ended up going on 12 different pharmaceuticals and never getting any better because the medicine for the stomach issues caused her joint pain. And then the joint pain caused her skin rashes. And then, it was this domino effect
Yeah.
and then never getting better. And, she just kept taking the medication and this is what my doctor told me to do. This is what my doctor told me to do. And, and then you just see yourself just deteriorating right before your eyes. And that's really what pulled on us, and just this message that we have to do our life's work. And so I always encourage people to do everything they can to do their life's work if your situation allows for it.
Yeah. I remember when my dad was in the hospital with COVID, that he had some liver issues and they were like, oh, just take him off the statin. We're like, oh, how interesting. Just take him off the statin.
Yeah,
All of
why
a
was
sudden-
he on it in the first place?
Yeah. But I also want to know, how did you both come to the same conclusion that you needed to do your life's work? Because it seems like one person could have that moment and the other one thinks they're nuts.
Yeah, right.
So where and how did that happen?
I think just because we both would read the same, books, we talked about it all the time. We have a very, we have really deep conversations with each other. We've been married now 30 years, and we knew that this wasn't where we wanted to be. And I don't know. I often wonder that too. Why were we both on the same page? People say that all the time. How do you work with your husband all these years? And it's really worked out beautifully. Like you, Kevin, could relate to. So
yeah. I mean, we go through periods and we fight, and
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes.
absolutely.
But overall, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you're so passionate. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much of a disconnect between our personal lives and our business lives because we're so passionate about it. I mean,
Yep.
my family would make fun of us because all I'd ever talk about is a probiotic. Like if I said the word probiotic, they'd be like, you have to drink, Tina. They turned it into a drinking game a long time ago. So I just became so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so was he. So it was nice. And now our whole family is so excited about it too. And they're so surrounded by it and love it too.
Yeah. You guys both came to this conclusion, and I know a lot of people feel like they aren't doing their life's work. What were some of the signals?
Gosh,
Were you
well,
unhappy? Were you guys feeling like you were in that kind of purgatory-ish vibe? What was it?
yeah, I think we were just unhappy seeing the abuses, and maybe it just and like I said, reading the books really helped us. But interestingly enough, we were on the island of Capri about 10 years ago, and we ran into Dr. Oz. We were kind of deciding what we were going to do, and we ran into him. And I'm like, this is a sign that we need to follow our passion. So if there was a sign, that was it. We ran into him. We talked to him. He was super sweet, and he encouraged us to do what we wanted to do. And so I looked at that as a big sign. And then we came back from that trip and decided to move forward.
So why probiotics?
Well, the big thing is that we know the gut is responsible for so much of our overall health. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it's foundational for our health. And so we really started delving into research in the natural health and wellness. How do we get to the root cause of things? And we really determined that the science is showing that everything is stemming from the gut. This was shortly after the Human Microbiome Project was launched by the National Institutes of Health. And it told us more about the gut than we ever knew before. And basically that the gut is dictating virtually every aspect of our overall health. And it's where we start. It's ground zero for health.
Yeah, we've done so many episodes here on gut health with Dr. Lipman and so many. So you guys went on this journey. When you look at the product you've created, or products, because there's a lot in the arsenal, what was the most important thing for you guys?
Yeah, well, we launched with just our probiotic strain, or our one probiotic, and that's our flagship product, and we were a single product company for many years. And it was very important to us to only launch products that were missing and needed in the market, and that would make an actual impact on society, and that have the research behind it. That was also really important to us. So what we knew about these probiotic strains is their ability to survive. Their ability to survive the gastric system. That's the biggest flaw in the majority of probiotics out there, is they don't ever make it to the intestines alive.
Oh, so is that why most probiotics need to be refrigerated
Yes.
and yours don't?
No. In fact, that is one of the biggest myths out there. Even doctors will say, I'm so happy that doctors are even talking about probiotics.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, you're on an antibiotic, make sure you take a probiotic, but make sure you take one that's in the refrigerator. And I'm like, no, because if a probiotic needs to be refrigerated to stay alive, that means that it can't even withstand the room temperature of the store shelf.
Well, and they ship it to you
Right.
dry. Like I had one before I got on yours, and they would ship it to me, and then I'd have to put it in the refrigerator. I go, wait, this doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And even if you bought it at the store where it was in the refrigerator, just the fact that it can't withstand the room temperature of the store shelf, how in the world would it survive your
The
body?
warmth, the heat inside.
98.6, right? So
Good point.
they wouldn't even do that. That always baffled us when we started looking into probiotics. It's like, how can it withstand the room temperature? It can't even withstand the room temperature of the store shelf. How would it survive your body temperature, which is 98.6? But take it a step further. The stomach acid, very acidic. It's meant to be the gastric barrier. The majority of probiotics die. If let's say they survive the body temperature, chances are they would never survive the gastric system, which is very acidic, meant to be the gastric barrier. So that is one of the biggest myths out there. So, in fact, a probiotic that needs to be refrigerated, to me, is a sign that it's a very weak probiotic. It's a sensitive probiotic and has difficulty making that journey to the intestines. Because just the definition of a probiotic is a live microorganism that confers a benefit onto the host, which is the body. So it needs to be alive in the intestines. Doesn't need to be alive in the refrigerator. It needs to be alive in the intestines. And so that is the biggest difference between ours, is that ability to get to the intestines alive. And we didn't do this because we didn't do any enterocoating. A lot of, obviously, probiotic manufacturers know this now. They know that they're not surviving. So they're trying to do all these things to enterocoat them, like cover them with something to get them into the intestines alive. But even if they do that, they hit the bile salts in the intestines and they would be killed off by the bile salts. So the difference between our strains they're called spore-based probiotic. And these spore-based probiotic strains actually have this spore shell. It's an endospore shell around themselves that actually allows it to get to the intestines alive. So they're dormant when they're in the spore shelf, or spore state. So when they're in the bottle, they're dormant. They're not live microorganisms. You swallow them, they're dormant. They hit the gastric system, they're dormant. When they hit the intestines, they recognize the intestines as their home, and that's when they take their shell off, and that's when they go into their live vegetative cell state. And that's when they start making these profound changes in the gut. And they stay there for about 21 to 28 days. Where the majority of the conventional probiotics would just pass through, similar to how food passes through. These strains actually stay there for about 21 to 28 days, where they start to make true changes in the intestinal tract.
Wow. So, okay, explain what a probiotic is. I know you gave a definition of what it does, right?
Yeah. So it's just the friendly bacteria in your gut. So we know we have good bacteria and bad bacteria in our gut. And it's really an ecosystem that we want to keep balanced. So we're not about killing off all the bad bacteria. We just want to make sure that there's a good balance, and the good bacteria, which are probiotics, actually outnumber the bad bacteria and are doing their job in the gut.
And does everyone need to take probiotics?
Well,
shouldn't we be able to, my belief is that we should have everything we need inside of us, but that's not necessarily always going to be the case. We're going to have different ailments that are going to require assistance.
Right. And I go back to the way we evolved. Our ancestors lived off the land. They ate roots and tubers off the food, and they would get these spore-based probiotics from the roots and tubers, from the soil. And they were meant to be consumed on a regular basis. And so that's why, even if you go to like the Hasda tribe and, all these different tribes that are living these indigenous lives, they are having all of these. They don't have these, SIBO, what's the other word I'm looking for? On like
PCOS.
yeah,
No,
PCOS.
maybe not that.
like
SIBO. There was another one.
oh my God, ulcerative colitis,
Yes.
Crohn's.
Yeah.
They don't have those digestive issues that are out there that we are so prevalent here. They don't have autoimmune issues because they're getting these. They were meant to be consumed on a regular basis. And so that's really the difference. So that's what these spore-based strains are, the same type of strains our ancestors used to get in on a daily basis. And unfortunately, the world we're living in is the soil, we're not getting these strains from our
Modern
soil.
world, and it's also a very like created world.
Very created world, and our soil is depleted of nutrients, and over farming, we're not getting the same type of nutrients from our soil. We live in a world that is so offensive to our gut health, and I think that's what's scary. I mean, one of the biggest offenders to our gut health are antibiotics. We know antibiotics are destroying our gut health. Antibiotics save lives, and so I don't expect someone to never take an antibiotic if they need to, but antibiotics are found in our food supply. Even the CDC estimates that 50% of antibiotics that are prescribed are not necessary. And that's due in large part to patients going in and saying,
Yeah, just give me a Z-Pack.
yeah, I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, I need a Z-Pack. Well, that ended at some point. I was like, oh wait, we can't be doing this.
Right. Thank God that's ending. But antibiotics are found in our food supply and animal products. They're found in just in lots of chickens and different animals, just to make them fatter and bigger and be able to produce more meat. So we have to be really careful about antibiotic consumption, both taking it and both in our food supply. Glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, is being sprayed all over our produce. It's so sad. I mean, it's just so sad. And Roundup actually could arguably be worse than antibiotics because the glyphosate only targets the beneficial bacteria in the gut. So it's actually destroying our good bacteria.
Isn't glyphosate linked back to cancer?
Yes, absolutely. It's a known carcinogen.
Yeah.
And yet it's being sprayed all over our produce. So we're, the chemicals and toxins that are in our household products, our cleaning supplies, our, personal care products, we are literally, we are destroying our gut bacteria. Everybody's like, bacteria is bad. Less than 1% of bacteria is bad. Most of our bacteria is so beneficial and critical for our overall health. And yet we're destroying it. The antibacterial hand sanitizers, the antibacterial soaps.
We have to stop those? Do we have to stop those?
I mean,
Seriously?
I've always recommend, even well before COVID, I would never do any of the antibacterial hand sanitizers because they're destroying we've got bacteria living in and on us that we don't want to get rid of.
Look at my husband over there. He's like laughing.
He's been saying that all along.
Throwing my arms up in the air.
Every time we get in the car, I'm like, sanitizer, everyone?
Yeah.
I said
Sanitizer?
you're weakening your immune system.
Spot on.
We need to be able to fight these things.
Yes. And
So what do you use?
soap and water.
Like regular soap?
Regular soap and water, not antibacterial.
What kind of soap do you like?
Oh gosh,
I always ask people what they use.
I know. I'm trying to think of what I mean, my husband actually always buys the soap. I'm trying to.
I'm just gonna go get some honest
Nice
soap.
Irish Spring.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's
Irish Spring, honey.
Something
sicko.
natural. We always obviously go to the natural. But
Yeah. Okay, so we have good bacteria, we have bad bacteria. What are the symptoms that your bacteria might be affected, that your good bacteria is less maybe than the bad bacteria?
Yes. Well, the obvious symptoms are people who have gas and bloating, diarrhea, constipation,
Farting.
right? Flatulence, acid reflux. All of those types of situations are signs that you have some gut imbalance. And that's pretty obvious to most people. What people are just starting to understand is that our immune system is found in our gut. So 80%, upwards of 80% of our immune system and our immune cells are found in our gut. And we need to make sure that our gut is signaling to the immune system to fire when there's an invader going on. Mood health is very directed to our gut health. We know 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut. Dopamine.
And serotonin does?
It's the happy hormone. Dopamine, the reward, center, that's produced in our gut. GABA, which is our calming hormone, is produced in our gut. So all these really critical neurotransmitters are actually being produced in our gut. So, we think of digestive issues as, we have some gut imbalance, but now we know immune issues, any autoimmune issues. If you have an autoimmune issue or allergies, you have a leaky gut, which is detrimental, obviously, to our overall health. If we have anxiety, depression, chances are that you have some immune or some gut dysfunction going on. Really, it's hard to find any disease, that non-communicable disease, that's not associated with an imbalance in our gut. It really is. Most, skin rashes, people forget that, you have a skin rash. Sure, try a topical cream, but you have to understand, why are you having a skin rash? Why do you have eczema? Why do you have psoriasis? Why do you have acne? Those are all stemming from an imbalance going on in our gut. So I would always encourage that you do whatever you want to do to take care of symptomatic relief, but get to the root cause. And that root cause is oftentimes found in your gut.
Yeah. It's not something your dermatologist is going to tell you.
Right. No, it is not.
They're going to take a biopsy. They're going to they wanted to put me on, what's the one with the A?
Oh, Accutane?
Accutane.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, you need Accutane. My husband looked at this doctor. He goes, people have such severe side effects from that, all the way down to suicide. He goes, she is not getting on that.
No.
Thank God he didn't have me do that, but I was getting these horrible skin rashes, which I believe was the beginning of all my autoimmune stuff.
Yep.
And so I believe I've had gut stuff for such a long time. Even just hearing you now, I'm realizing how much all of this tied to the gut, because we do all of this on the show, and we'll have a Dr. Lippman on, and then I'll remember, and then I'll forget certain things because, well, there's been a few conditions that have popped up, friends, so it's hard to keep it all straight. But I'm looking back now, and I'm like, man, it must have been all gut stuff from the beginning.
Yeah.
So when we think about all these really important hormones that are being signaled, right? The dopamine, those are hormones.
Yeah. The neurotransmitters, but then other hormones like estrogen, progesterone. Your gut is like the detox center for this estrogen, like when you have excess estrogen too. So our hormones are produced in our gut. Our neurotransmitters are produced in our gut, sending signals back to the brain.
So let's just do a little deep dive here. Let's go down a rabbit hole. So if I had, let's say, this is hypothetical, I don't know for sure. If I had these issues, right? These imbalances. And we know that these are all, hormones that are really tied in to this bacteria and stuff in your gut. Then I pump myself with IVF. Don't think that did me any favors.
No, I don't think it did.
So this is like my new thing I'm telling friends who are about to go do IVF, because we've normalized it so much. I tell all of my friends, please go get a full body scan. I know it costs a lot. I'm working on it. But get a full body scan. Make sure there's nothing in there that's going to grow with the hormones, because hormones grow things. This is why my neurologist said you can't get pregnant, because I still have brain tumor in there. So let's make sure you're all clear. Then, and this part can happen before, check how many follicles you have. If you have a lot of follicles, find a doctor who will release them with maybe a trigger shot, no hormones, grab them, and you don't have to do all the stimulation.
Right.
Because there are ways to do that. And they're like, I didn't know that. So because we've normalized, just go in, just do it, blah, 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 aimlessly. If you have gut issues, I've always been concerned with people having brain tumors or some other kind of tumor, and then it's going to amplify it. But I never thought about, gut issues and what kind of damage it could do. I really believe we're going to find out how dangerous IVF is fairly soon, if they allow us to find out, because obviously that's become such a big industry. I also can't say I wouldn't go back and do it again now, with, the fact that I have my baby and I love her so much, but I would have done things differently. I would have tried to go the natural route to achieve egg retrieval, if possible, at least first. And then knowing what I was getting into, I would have balanced myself off with probiotics. I would have done the things to help my body along in the journey.
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing, is just if you're supporting your gut, you're reducing inflammation. That's the biggest thing. If you have a leaky gut, that inflammation is going to your brain, it's going to other organs, it's, causing this, this inflammatory response by your immune system. So absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't want the scale to tip.
Right.
Right. That's why you're saying, like, let's have a healthy amount of good bacteria with the bad bacteria. But if you already have an imbalance and you have too much bad bacteria, and now you're putting in antibiotics, or you're putting in IVF hormones or you're putting anything in, now you're really tipping the scale and the body's just gonna crap out at some point and things are just gonna start exploding inside and just
exactly. And
going haywire.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's going to happen. And what's even scarier is that when you're having a baby, that is when you inoculate your baby with the microbiome. I mean, that is when you got your microbiome from your mother. I mean, we all get our microbiome from vaginal childbirth and from close skin to skin contact. And that is what is determining the health of your baby's microbiome. So now if you're having a baby with an unhealthy microbiome, it's just, you're passing that on to your baby. And who wants to do that? So I'm preaching all the time to pregnant moms, take care of your gut microbiome when you're pregnant. I mean, it is the most critical, best gift you could give your child is by taking care of your own microbiome, because that is when the baby is being inoculated with their microbiome.
Yeah.
Their good bacteria.
So did my surrogate inoculate my baby? I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, her vaginal microbiome would have inoculated your baby. Yes. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, you've got the close skin to skin contact, and there's other ways that you could give Athena your bacteria.
Yeah. Although I have a really good immune system and I have crazy amounts of natural killer cells. So thank you for that.
Yes.
But I like people really understanding those things that we don't really talk about. Because whatever you're putting in is going to have some kind of effect. We want to put in the stuff that's going to have good effects, or if we're going to do some things that are going to have some negative effects, how can we balance them out?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's not like only this way. And I'm a real big proponent of that. We want to take baby steps in our healing journeys or our health journey. And if you have to do something, which, like I said, sometimes you have to take an antibiotic, but you want to make sure you're taking a probiotic that actually is making a change to help, repair that damage that was done by the antibiotic or IVF.
What are some of the things you have seen or testimonials you guys have gotten for healings? Like, what's the craziest kind of most rewarding stories you have?
Well, always the most rewarding are mothers that are talking about their children. The epidemic of gut issues in kids is so sad. I mean, I was a child a long, long time ago, but when I was a child, K through, my senior year of high school, I knew one classmate that had a peanut allergy. Nobody had peanut allergies. Nobody had allergies back then. Now we're seeing this epidemic with children having allergies, having autoimmune issues, having ADHD, having autism. And one of my favorite testimonials was a mom. We speak at a lot of autism conferences. Kids on the autism spectrum have a lot of gut dysbiosis going on. And so my favorite testimonial was one of the moms who's just saw a huge, profound change in her son with his bowel movements, his energy levels, his sleep patterns, his mood. It was amazing what happened when he started to help repair his gut. And
wow,
that's been really fun. I've seen that a lot with other, kids and allergies and their ability to start introducing foods as they start to repair their gut. And then like with adults, just seeing the more energy, I always laugh at, the pharmaceutical industry is like, side effects include suicidal thoughts or death and all this stuff, where like our side effects are, better mood, better sleep, better weight management. I've had so many my one friend's like, you saved my marriage because I had no energy. But, when you start going to the bathroom regularly and cleaning yourself out, it's like you get rid of those toxins, you have more energy. So, some people may come to our product because they have a skin rash, or they may come to our product because they have terrible bloating or gas. And then they start finding all of these other benefits that come from taking the product. And that's what's really exciting. That's why we always encourage people to stay on it for a couple months. A lot of times people start seeing benefits within a couple days even, but most people it's about 30 days, but we always say stay on it for a couple months and see all the other benefits that you start to see or you start to experience from the product. But I mean, there's not a day that goes by that we don't get a testimonial. I mean, it's been so much fun. I mean, it's been so fun to make an impact on society and just helping people support their immune system in this time when we're all trying to find ways to support our immune system and help our digestive system. I mean, there's every single person in my family, my priest, everybody's on it. So I have everybody on it.
You go to church and you're like, I see your flat stomach, Father.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
What about gastritis? Have you heard anything in terms of healing gastritis?
Yeah, so we are really super careful about, disease claims because we've
Got it.
Yeah. I try to be really careful about that kind of stuff.
Got it. Okay. And how is it taken? So obviously we know we don't have to refrigerate it, but share with everybody how to take a probiotic properly.
Yeah, so it's super easy. With ours, you just take it with food in the presence of food. So one capsule.
Because some are like before, some are during. It's very confusing.
Yeah. And I could explain
the specifics.
Yeah. So the reason why this whole myth was out there to take it on an empty stomach, or a lot of probiotics will tell you, companies will say, take it on an empty stomach. And that's because when you have an empty stomach, the pH of your stomach is higher, which allows for greater survivability. But a normal pH for people is a 1.3. And so ours survives at 1.3. Ours survives even lower than that. So we know that most of the other probiotics are trying to have them. They know that their strains aren't surviving. So they're saying, take it on an empty stomach so you have a higher pH. Where ours, you don't need to do that. In fact, everything we do is based on research. We have a study that actually showed that these strains proliferate in the presence of food. So it's better. You get
They need it.
Yes. And you get more for your money if you take it with food. So you just take one capsule a day with food at the end of a meal, and it's super easy. You could open the capsules and mix it.
At the end of the meal?
Yeah, at the end of the meal.
Oh, I do it at the beginning.
Okay, well,
Is that bad?
No, it's not. And that's the thing. It's not bad to take it on an empty stomach. It just works that much better if you.
Well,
take
like
it
I
with
take
food.
a couple bites and then I throw it
Yeah,
down.
that's perfect. As long as it
Okay.
has some food to help proliferate.
Okay, but is it better at the end?
Better at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And you could open the capsules and mix it with food. I know that's great for kids. A lot of times they like to, parents like to open it for kids. We've tested this. You could bake with them up to 455 degrees.
No way.
And they will remain stable. These are so robust. They actually survive the presence of an antibiotic. So we did a study on this with some of the highest concentrations of antibiotics used for liver encephalitis patients. They survive the presence of an antibiotic. Most probiotics would be destroyed by the presence of an antibiotic. Our strains completely are stable. I always recommend people start slowly with the probiotic because they are very potent. And so some people will experience die-off, which is just like you start feeling some uncomfortable feelings, maybe more gas or bloating. It's not common. I mean, it's maybe like 20% of the customers will experience some die-off, which is a great sign because it means it's working. They're killing off the pathogenic bacteria. It means you had some overgrowth. Just go slowly and don't be scared off by it because that means you need
once
it.
a day though. So is it better to do lunch, breakfast, dinner, what?
Yeah, the time of day doesn't matter. I always say just with your largest meal of the day.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it says on the bottle, actually.
Okay. Yeah, see? That's why.
I just remembered.
Yeah. So, and I intermittent fast. I think intermittent fasting is a nice tool for supporting your gut health too. We know that in a starved state, the bacteria, some of your bacteria will proliferate. So also a tool. Intermittent fasting isn't for everybody, but even if you could try to go 12 hours, from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., there are studies that show that also supports your gut health. But
I didn't realize I was intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with dinner by before 6, and then I don't eat again until 8 the next day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's super, super beneficial to your gut health.
Yeah.
So it's super easy. So I with my largest meal of the day, usually, which is my first meal of the day at, noon, I'll take my probiotics then.
And then you also have Just Calm. So you have a lot of products. We were just talking about the probiotic and Just Calm. So explain Just Calm and where that came from.
Yeah. So Just Calm is actually a psychobiotic strain. And so a psychobiotic actually is a new term, relatively new term. It was coined in like 2013 by two professors and scientists who basically found probiotic strains that support the gut-brain axis. So they help improve cognition. They help improve mood. And we know that there's this gut-brain axis. So the gut and the brain are connected. They are intimately connected through the vagus nerve. Mm-hmm. And the vagus nerve is the largest communication highway through our body, and it's sending signals back and forth to each other. And so we know that, if you're excited about something, you get butterflies in your stomach. If you're nervous about something, you have to go to the bathroom. And this is this communication going on between our gut and our brain. And so we know that the probiotic alone is helping with that leakiness of the gut. We have a double-blind human clinical trial on metabolic endotoxemia, which is the fancy word for leaky gut. And we saw that there was a 60% reduction of LPS toxins seeping into the bloodstream just from the probiotic alone. Yeah, this is profound.
Wow, that's big. Leaky gut's hard to fix.
Very hard to fix.
So 60% of people were fixed by just taking this probiotic once a day.
60% reduction in LPS toxins in the gut. And so this was a study on college students. There were 100 college students students, they healthy college students, no other, issues or illnesses, no medication. They found out that 50% of them had a leaky gut and didn't know it. They took those 55% and they split the group in half. Half of them got the placebo, half of them got the spores that are used in Just Thrive. And they found that they saw a 60% reduction in LPS toxins with those that were the treated group, where the placebo group actually got 30% worse.
Yeah, because they didn't have anything.
Right. And it's like that drippy faucet. Everyone's like, I'm fine. All of a sudden I had an autoimmune issue, or they end up having, it is like a drippy faucet. It's like leaking. One day it overflows. And that's why people start to develop diseases. They have this leaky gut. So we now know that we don't know of any other probiotic or any other pharmaceutical that has a study of this magnitude. It was the first study on leaky gut that was out there. So we know that when you have a leaky gut, it sends inflammatory responses to the brain. And so this is one major cause of brain inflammation is
brain tumors probably.
Right. And this inflammation that's going from your gut into your brain. And now on the flip side, we have these external stressors in our life. Every day we're faced with external stressors. We're getting cut off at traffic. You have a fight with a loved one. You have medical diagnosis. You have a, sick family member, whatever. We are dealing with stress every day and we can't get away from it. The problem is, our ancestors, we have this fight or flight response and it's a protective mechanism. Having high cortisol is a protective mechanism. We evolved that way. If we had if we were being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, we would, go into this mode, fight or flight, and we would run and we'd have this adrenaline. But now we get a text, we see a tweet. And we can't get out of that. We're constantly in that fight or flight state. And we have these external stressors. And so what this psychobiotic is, which is the strain in our Just Calm product, is meant to, it's a psychobiotic strain that's meant to bring us down. It helps to balance the cortisol levels. It's helping reduce the perception of stress, actually helping with cognition, helping with our ability to perceive stress on a regular basis and bringing us more into that theta wave state, which we want to get into. This particular strain is called Bifidolongum 1714, and it's a psychobiotic strain that's been extensively studied by APC University out of Cork, Ireland, one of the most preeminent gut researching institutes in the world. And there's several studies on it showing that it's actually has the ability to reduce the perception of stress and increase our theta wave activity and just have that ability to handle stress better. So
wow.
We know now between the probiotic and the psychobiotic, we now have this ability to really combat that, the two offenders to our gut health.
Wow.
To our brain health, sorry.
So, okay, that's amazing. So this is a bacteria strain that you guys found that does this. So it's, okay, so it works almost just like a probiotic.
Yeah, it
is a probiotic in a sense.
Yeah, it is a probiotic. It's just a probiotic that is actually
for the vagus nerve.
For the vagus nerve, exactly.
Rather than just the gut.
Yes, exactly.
It's the messenger bacteria.
Yes, exactly. And it's just helping support that communication because we want that communication going back and forth. And it's why you want to have less external stressors. So the psychobiotic will help you bring down your cortisol levels and balance your cortisol levels. And then the probiotic will help send signals from your gut to your brain to calm down. And
how long before you notice results with that?
Oh gosh, it's always so individual, but within 30 days, we're seeing people, sometimes people it's within a couple of days, you'll see.
I bet it helps with depression.
Well, there's that word again that I have to be careful. But yeah, it's definitely helping our mood. I mean, we know anxiety and depression is stemming from our gut health. For years, psychiatrists have had their hands tied. They've been prescribing SSRIs, anti-anxiety medicine. And we all know people that have been on those and just really never getting any better. It's because they've been focusing on the brain when really we should have been focusing on the gut.
Ooh, I know someone who really needs to try this right now. I was just saying, listen, I know you don't want to do medication, but I think you need to bridge the gap to get yourself to a better place. And he agreed. But now I think I'm going to put him on Just Calm and see how that works first. Don't you think, honey?
I think, 100%.
I think that's going to be amazing. So,
and the probiotic.
Can it be done without the probiotic if he says, I don't want the probiotic?
Yeah, I mean, it can be absolutely, but I
Okay.
just think you want to remember the
Hit both
two
sides. Yeah.
yeah, because the two causes of brain inflammation are the inflammation coming from the leaky gut and then those external stressors that we're
So
getting.
it is both then,
I
because
mean,
you're having a gut issue and you have the messenger issue.
yes. I mean,
Okay.
I would argue, I always like people to start with one for a couple of weeks and then introduce the other, just to see what they notice and maybe journal it. I mean, if I were
Yeah.
good at sales, I would say start them both at the same time. But I
Yeah.
just really think it's important to kind of see how you feel with each of them individually. And I would argue that maybe he should start with the probiotic and then go into the just calm, but he certainly could
He's
do
in an acute place.
Okay, well then, you know what? Yes, great.
We need just calm.
Yeah, then
yesterday.
yes, okay, then do the just calm.
Okay.
Start with that. Absolutely, then, because
Yeah.
that will help with the external stressors and just help your body or your brain, to handle those external stressors that are happening.
Got it. So I have a phone, friends, heel squatters, and I have it on do not disturb. I have it on silent. Oh, my dad's an exception.
Okay,
Stand by.
that's important.
Dad, are you okay? I'm taping a show live, Dad. I can't come see whatever you're fixing right now, but I can come later. Love you. Okay, well,
I
Heel
love
Squad,
that.
that's what goes on around here. So I want to know one kind of last thing. Like, how did I get in that place where I got the leaky gut? So if you're talking about the root issue, right? What is the root issue of these gut problems? What are we doing wrong? What did I do wrong? Did I have too much vinegar that's acidic? Did I have too much, meat that was hormoned out, let's say? Like, what have I done wrong?
Well, first of all, I don't think you did anything wrong. And I hate to have us all feel like we're doing something wrong. Unfortunately, it is the world we're living in. I mean, we live in this world that is so offensive to our microbiome. I mean, like I said, the antibacterial, everything is antibacterial. And yet our bacteria.
Throwing it all out today.
Yes, good. It's our bacteria that's really healthy for us. And so it's the antibiotics that we take, the antibiotics in our meat supply, the glyphosate. It's the stress. I mean, stress is a huge offender to our gut health.
I was so stressed at work and I would get sick all the time, and I was Z-Pack queen early in my life.
Yes. And so every time we take those antibiotics, they say it takes up to 2 years to rebalance our gut microbiome after being on an antibiotic. And now if you're on them over and over and over again,
I was.
we don't know. We didn't know better. I mean, this is what we were told. Our doctors were telling us.
Give it to us.
Right, exactly.
Nobody says, oh my gosh, you can't do more.
Right.
Ever. Because
Ever.
that little asshole sales rep goes to them and says, if you sell more Z-Packs, you'll get a bump, right? Don't they get bumps?
Yes, absolutely.
Doctors get bumps for
Yes.
prescribing more, right?
And vacations. And I mean, I know that they've tried to limit that a little in recent years, but I'm sure there's workarounds.
There's workarounds for everything.
Yeah. So I just think it's in the chemicals, the world we're living in. It's just, we're like you said, a created world. I mean, everything's so manufactured. And, if you go into these tribes that are living off the land, they don't have any of these digestive issues. They don't have cancer, the rates that we have in this country. I mean, it's so sad. It's just the world we're living in. And so unfortunately, people will say that, well, does everybody need to take a probiotic? And I mean, I would argue that yes, everybody needs to be focusing on their gut health. And there are other things to be doing besides taking a spore-based probiotic, taking, like I said, walks in nature and meditation is really important. It's not just woo-woo, intermittent fasting. There are things, staying away from, processed foods and eating a lot and staying away from sugar, and all of those things are going to help with inflammation. They're going to help our gut overall. But unfortunately, it's just hard to escape them in the world we live in.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you're doing your life's work. Your husband is doing his life's work. How have your lives changed since you followed your path?
Oh, it has been, I have goosebumps as you asked me that, because it's just, to see what it's done for our own family members has been incredible. My father-in-law has had some health issues recently, and I truly believe that just having him on these strains have helped him get through a lot of, in conjunction with modern medicine. I'm not saying that he hasn't done that, but just I think that it's helping combat all of the modern medicine that he's taking. I've seen it with my own parents who, knock on wood, are super healthy and are super involved in our lives. And I just think that's been what's been most exciting, to see my kids that are on the product and just changing their lives. And then just knowing, people come up to me, friends in my neighborhood, people come up to me just saying, oh my God, this has helped me so much. It's really fun to make a difference in the world. It really, really is fun.
Wow. So what's next? Are you going to Aaron Brockovich, the glyphosate people, and I'll help you?
Yeah, I mean,
let's go take them down.
Yeah, I know.
No, let's not.
Why?
Let's let them do their thing. We just make products to help people.
No,
We're on the good
people
side.
are doing terrible things. Every day I'm like, why are we allowing this?
Well,
I know.
But I also don't know what else.
I see two
what
very
to
nice
do.
young women. I don't really feel like seeing bullseyes painted on both of your chests. Yeah.
Let's get them.
That's what's so hard. It's like, you're afraid to do things sometimes. And, all we could do is bring awareness to people. And that's what's so awesome about your show, is that you have the audience to bring awareness to people. And I'm so adamant about empowering people to take control of their health. Don't believe what I say, go and start researching. Find a probiotic that has the research behind it. Find probiotics or find supplements that have research behind it. And, really empower yourself to understand your own health and be your own advocate. And I know we're so aligned on that.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's what I'm so passionate about, and why, we invest
Soul sisters in that for sure.
Yes. I mean, it's so fun. And that's why we invest in our customer service team. So many companies out there are like, oh, we're going to use AI and we're going to do chatbots and we're not going to do all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, no. We have a product coach on our team. Our customer service is so hands-on. They are so passionate about what we're doing, and they're having so much fun changing lives on a regular basis. So we want to empower people, and that's what's been fun about this.
Yeah, it is about awareness and educating people so they can see the other side of things. That's always, always want everyone to see behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing I didn't ask you is about how clean it is, because also it's free of so many things. So share that with us too.
Yeah, no, it's free of, everything. There's no dairy, no gluten, no GMOs, nothing like that. It's free of no sugar. I mean, honestly, you'll find probiotics that actually have sugar in it. It's like, oh my God, how does that happen? So it's unbelievable. So it's super clean. It's just the 4 strains, and that's about it. And one of the biggest myths out there too that we didn't mention was the amount of CFUs. You'll see those products that say
5,000 or 5 billion,
10 billion, 250 billion CFUs. I mean, that is such a marketing ploy. In America, more is better. We need more. I mean, ours only has 3 billion. And we have a gut model study that actually showed that after 2.5 weeks, it changed the gut flora in a positive way by 30%. So it made a 30% favorable shift in the gut flora after only 2.5 weeks. And this is just with 3 billion CFUs. So there's absolutely no studies that show more is better. That is really, they know that these strains aren't surviving. So they're loading them with these crazy number. And they also know people are like, oh, more is better. They could justify a higher price. And there's just no, I mean, the studies that we did a gut model or a gastric survivability study. That was one of the first studies that we did. Took the leading selling probiotic sold at a major health food store and found that it was a 50 billion count CFU product. Died. 99.99% of the strains were dead by the time they got to the intestines.
Wow.
Where the spores that are found in ours actually survived 100%. So it's a whole different, so that's another big myth out there with probiotics. So
this is making me so happy, because I got on it because I know I need to be on a probiotic, and I saw that it was clean, and I researched. I was like, okay, this is clean. It's safe. But now hearing all the research behind it, I'm like, I want to go take the whole bottle right now. I'm so excited.
I know. It is so exciting.
It is. Yeah. When you know better, you can do better.
Right. And I think the other thing that was really interesting too is that a lot of these probiotics are made up with these kitchen sink formulas. You look on the side and they have 15 different strains. That's another big myth out there. If you have 15 different strains or 20 different strains, you're actually having more of a probiotic. That is so far from the truth. And in fact, a study just came out from the Weissman Institute that showed that actually could be detrimental by having these. They actually compete with your immune system. And so one of the biggest things that we've done is our studies have been on our actual formulation with the strains used in our product. And so, for example, the strain that's in our Just Calm product, Bifidolongum 1714, we tried to add a different probiotic strain with that. And this Bifidolongum 1714 has incredible studies behind that strain. We tried to add another probiotic strain to it, and it negated all the effects of that strain.
Wow.
So what's happening is companies are taking borrowed research. They're finding a strain that has great research behind it, and then they're adding all of these different strains to it to make it.
It's like a smoothie. Just throw all the shit in there. When people don't realize, the more things you put in the smoothie, the more your body has to digest each little ingredient.
Yes.
So I had a yogi tell me, he's like, keep everything simple. The salads shouldn't have a lot of stuff on it.
Interesting.
Your gut has to digest each thing, the walnut, the pine nut, the cranberry, the lettuce,
Yes.
So he's like, keep it simple for your body.
Yeah, I love that. That's so, because that's exactly the same thing that's going on with probiotics out there, is that they're, putting all of these in a vat and they're growing together. And what happens is that one probiotic could take over another probiotic. So a probiotic that's actually listed on the label is no longer in the product. But then what's even scarier is two probiotics could come together and create a whole new strain we don't know the studies on it. We don't know if it's efficacy, if it's safe. We don't know. So that was really important to us to bring products that actually have studies on the finished product and the formulation together, to know that there's not anything crazy going on. So it was important to us to supplements are awesome, but just like the pharmaceutical industry, there's snake oil sales people. There's people that are out there doing not good things. And so it was important for us to elevate the standards of supplements by doing double-blind human clinical trials, by really changing the trajectory of the supplement space and elevating it so that people do trust it again and trust what you're doing. So I just recommend trying to find companies that are doing research and are really knowing the impact it's having on the human body.
Yeah, that's why, I've had over the years so many supplement companies come and offer me literally 7-figure deals to do their supplements, or ask me to build my own supplements with them. I was like, no. And back then I didn't take any supplements. So I'm like, I don't take them. Why would I advertise them? Why would I make them?
Right.
And so, and then I was always scared. I'm like, I don't like this. Something doesn't feel right. And so it takes a lot for me to actually put supplements in my body, and I have to know that they're clean. I have to know that they're good. That's why I love yours. And that's the only reason that I would ever have somebody come and talk about supplements on here.
Yeah.
Is I have to feel that they're safe enough for me to take. If they're safe enough for me to take, then I can share it.
Well, that is so awesome. Thank you for doing that, because you're helping elevate the standard in the supplement space too. So, I mean, I know I really appreciate that.
It's scary because people hawk so much stuff, and then you never know what's real and what's okay. And so you have to be careful with that. I mean, listen, I only know what I know right now. We don't know what we're going to know in a year or 2 years or 3 years. But I always say, at this moment, with the information that I have right now, I feel good with this.
Yep. Yeah.
And if I feel good with this and I can sleep at night and I'm taking it myself, I'm not going to ever advertise something. There was a lash thing years and years ago. Funny story. I won't say anything more than a lash thing. And guys, it was a 7-figure deal. It was going to be so easy. I was just going to shoot a commercial and be done. And I was like, well, I have good lashes. And I'm like, so I would never use this. And I'd actually be scared to use this. Maybe it would ruin my lashes.
Right.
And lashes are hard to get back. And then secondly, what if it made people go blind? And I was like, yeah, don't want to do that. And so I said no. And I remember Kevin being like, you have too much integrity. He got so mad at me. He's like, this is life-changing money. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm building a reputation and I would never take it and use it. So I'm not going to hawk it.
Yeah.
And so I said no. A big celebrity ended up doing it, and they did have problems down the line.
Wow. Look at
And
you see, you trusted your gut.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. And so, yes, would I have loved that money? Of course. But I love my integrity way more.
And life-changing opportunities are changing people's lives. And that's what you're doing on a regular basis.
Thank you. Well, this was so awesome. Thank you.
So much fun. I love talking to you. I love the work you're doing and really appreciate your kind words and the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure we'll have another conversation at some point again. And once I put this friend on Just Calm and the Just Thrive probiotic, we will see the results, and I will share that. Where can people buy this, by the way?
Yeah. So the best place would probably be our website, justthrivehealth.com. And I think we have a coupon code for Heal
cool.
Squad. So if people want to try it's for the 90-day. We have a 90-day of the probiotic and a 90-day of the Just Calm. We have a 20% discount for if you just use Heal Squad. So it's justthrivehealth.com is the best place to find us. We are in stores. If you would rather get in a store, you could go on our store locator on our website.
And just use Heal Squad as the coupon code?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I like to buy everything on Amazon. Are these things available on Amazon?
They are, but
They're not trusted, right? Because you don't
we
know.
actually we're dealing with an issue right now. They are available on Amazon, but we actually had a counterfeiter at Amazon, and we're fighting it right
No
now.
way.
Yeah, I mean we've noticed this. They like take our label; it looks almost identical, and you don't know
Wow.
what's in it. And we're in the process. We've hired attorneys. We're doing what we need to do to get those counterfeiters off. We do have our product is legitimately on Amazon. If it's sold by the group deal, that would be you could buy it on Amazon there.
Yeah.
But you get the 20% off for the on
Go
our
to the website.
Yeah. I mean,
It's safer.
Yeah, it's safer, right? And
It's
you know,
safer and it protects you from a bad habit because when you go on Amazon, you might get the right one today, but next time you'll go back and you'll get the wrong one.
right.
So go to justthrivehealth.com, use the coupon code Heal Squad, get your 20% off and get better, friends.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. In the meantime, be nice people, take your probiotics, make good choices, and be present.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or mariamenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.